Hi, everyone. Welcome to These Books Are for Everybody, a place that, among other things, works to make good lit and critical thinking accessible and exciting because, much like these hoes, these books are for everybody. I'm your host, Cree Miles. Today, I'm delighted to have Kevin Ortega-Rojas from Here's Why Kevin as my guest. Kevin is a seasoned freelance writer and podcaster who specializes in the LGBTQ plus narrative. He has written for Into, Native Son, Remezcla, among other publications, and he has a combined monthly reach of over 50 million people. Kevin, I am thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much for being on These Books Are for Everybody.
Thank you for having me. You sent me like the nicest message, and you were like, "Hey, I'm Cree," and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I think my response was like, "Are you joking? I love you."
Oh my God, I'm so glad. No, I'm really excited to talk to you. And this is a question that I'm going to ask later, but I've realized that you are my news source. So I'm just like, how does one become someone's news source? But before we jump there, I really wanted to jump into just the very beginning, how you got
Mhm.
started in citizen journalism. Where did this career start?
I always tell people this. I think because it just solidifies for people that I didn't really fall into this. I wanted to be a journalist my entire life, my
Okay.
whole life,
Yeah.
since I was a child. But am old enough to remember when like Kindles were really popular, and there was this period of time where we thought that every Barnes and Noble in the world was going to close. Um, and so when I was getting ready to go to college, my brother and we went to the same school. He's a few years older than me. We were both dancers. We both were dance majors. And we both were double majors. So like I was always told, you can pursue art, you have to do something else as well. And so when I told my older brother, like, hey, I want to study journalism, he was
Yeah.
like, are you crazy? No one reads the news. So then
Dang.
he was like, Barnes and Noble won't exist in like 2 years. You should do something. So I studied business instead,
Okay. Okay.
and ended up like in management for years and years. But I always wanted to be a journalist. And so right before the pandemic in like 2019, I decided that I wanted to podcast. I'd always been really interested again in like just the medium.
Yeah.
And so I started podcasting with some friends. We made a queer Latino podcast that ended up being like really popular.
Yeah.
And then from there, it just made me really comfortable speaking. I got used to my voice, which I used to hate. Um, I got used to or became more skilled at breaking down stories and talking to people. And so I started making content on my own, and then it just sort of took off, and I just kept doing it.
Oh, that's so wonderful. So, like I said, you have become my news source. And it was a subconscious thing. Like stuff is happening. I see the ice raids in Chicago. I go and see what did Kevin say about it? Or like and it's interesting because I go to you not only for political news but for the pop culture news too. I feel like I'm like locked in. What you're talking about is I'm interested in, and I trust your angle on it. How do you gain people's trust? Do you know how you do that?
That's a really interesting question. I don't think that I think I've learned along the way what people need. So I've been very intentional about making sure that all of my headlines, I always tell people, please read the story. People think that like because Instagram is my biggest medium. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Substack,
Yeah.
I'm on Threads, but Instagram is the platform where I have the largest reach, and so that's
Yeah.
where a lot of people find me. And I always tell them, like, folks, the story's in the caption, like the caption, and it really
Yeah.
like if you've ever actually read my captions, they're not short. Like they're usually pretty detailed.
Yeah, for sure.
And I post up to 30 times a day. That's 30 original captions that like I take the time to write. And so like my partner like we'll be at dinner and we'll be talking about like what appetizer we're gonna get, and he'll hear
Yeah.
like the breaking news ding on my phone. And then he's like, okay, time for a break. And we won't, because he knows that I'm going to be reading as many articles as I can as quickly as I possibly can so that I can start writing my own report with my
Holy
own
moly.
POV. But I think what helped gain people's trust is that I cite all of my sources. I don't just post
Yeah.
something with just the headline.
Yeah.
I will always tell folks I don't believe that there's such thing as unbiased news. It's impossible. Everything is political. Everything is biased.
Yeah.
Um, so my headlines are obviously going to skew a particular way, but
Yeah.
I break things down in the caption as just as straightforward and fact-based as possible, and I try to cite 2 to 3 sources minimum for each post because I want you to go and read it. And if you don't agree with my angle, that's fine, but like you can go read it for yourself. And I think that that's primarily why a lot of people who are like trying to do citizen journalism or like independent journalism
Yeah.
via social media are
Yeah.
just regurgitating things that they've read or like
It's a book review.
they just read headlines that people
Yeah.
have already, yeah.
Oh, I cannot believe that you are posting all of, because I was counting yesterday how many times you posted.
Oh
You're
yeah.
doing that by yourself.
By myself, yeah, all
How?
day.
How?
Just a phone and a laptop.
That is, that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
I mean, how are you taking care of yourself?
I have a pretty good life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, like I have really great friends. I have a 12-year-old son who keeps me like in check. I make time to have a life,
Yeah.
and I think what people don't know is that usually, like people that I've met who work either in politics or activism or journalism.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had the pleasure of meeting some really incredible and interviewing really incredible people.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I get really kind messages from followers for like, hey, thank you for what you're doing and I hope that you're okay. Which is nice, but I'm like, I'm already reading these stories.
Like anyway,
I'm
for the
I'm
content.
already doing this. This is like
Yeah.
I'm like I watch C-SPAN all day long. I
Okay.
watch every Senate hearing. I watch every congressional hearing. So I'm just sharing what I'm already doing with folks who are also interested.
Dude, how do you feel about this like rise of celebrity podcasters who will just like tag on journalist as an identity?
Mm. Can you give me a specific example? Can we be
Kiki
messy?
Kiki Palmer.
Did you see my post about her yesterday?
You be coming for people. It be fair. Like nothing ever feels malicious. It just feels critical. But I'm like, dude, you're gonna be in the room with these people one day. What are you gonna do?
Oh, I have been.
What? What happened? What's your sign?
I'm a Cancer.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. I don't know. I mean, my husband's a Cancer. He's not like, but you know what? He wouldn't be afraid to go into the room. But yes, how do you
Yeah, I
feel about
mean,
this doubleness?
well, I don't feel like I'm particularly like I'm not attacking folks,
No.
And
Yeah.
so I'm very just this is just again, these are just the facts. Like if you did this thing, I'm just talking about this thing you did. And um I think uh Kimberly Nicole Foster,
Yeah.
who runs for Harriet, is one of my favorite like human beings that exists in the world. I don't know her, but love
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And she always, when she talks about people in public life, she has been pretty consistent in saying that like you can't have it both ways. You can't decide that sometimes you want to use your private life or your platform for certain things and then other times not want the negative that comes with it. That's just not how life works. So
Yeah.
like if you want to be uplifted and loved and celebrated and popular and famous and rich, you have to deal with sometimes there will be criticism or not even just discussion about things that are happening.
Yeah.
And I think because I'm not attacking people for their looks or their faith or their sexuality or anything else. I'm literally just saying, hey, you did this thing, and whether or not I agree with it, what do you care? You did it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Ah.
But as far as like pretending to be journalists, um, I just think it's it makes it hard to understand what people stand for. And I'm using the
Mhm.
example of like Kiki Palmer specifically because I posted about it yesterday,
Yeah.
where like we know who you are and like the experiences that you have had, whether or not you wanted us to know about it, we do.
Yeah.
So it just makes it hard when some people make decisions and interview certain folks or platform people, and you're like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense for you, given what we know about you and the experiences you've been through. But you know,
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Um to that point, you are regularly reporting on like relatively emotionally charged topics, even if they're not for you, for other people. Like people are going to turn up, and the internet is just like the lack of nuance is sobering. How like what do you find most challenging about navigating the digital landscape given what you're giving to the people?
um, I think the hardest part is not even like the work that I do, because when the platform started growing, and it's
Mhm.
grown exponentially over the last year and a half,
Mhm.
when my platform started growing, I tried to be really controlling about like my comment section and like blocking people all day or like responding to people, because I felt like I had a responsibility to people who came to my profile to make sure that like my comment section was a safe space. And eventually I had to give that up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just say, if you are on the internet, you need to know that uh, these spaces are not, I can't curate comment sections when I'm posting all day long and when there's thousands of you.
Yeah.
Um, so I've given that up. That used to be really hard. I
Yeah.
think now the challenge is like trying to be a person. Like people often will just like forget that like, there's a human being behind this account. And so, which is why I keep my name in my
Yeah.
my in my user in my platform.
Yeah.
Like it's, here's why, Kevin, because I want you to know that there's one person behind the screen. And
Yeah.
so often people want to dehumanize you, or like if they don't agree with a story, folks are like, do better. And I'm like, I'm trying my
Dude.
best.
Dude. Wait, you know what I distinctly remember because I just was not expecting what happened. On Threads or something, you were talking about how because people kept saying that their rest was the resistance, right? And it's so interesting because I had just come back from the Black Alliance for Peace Radical Organizing Conference. And I feel like
Yeah,
one of the primary pillars of the conference was like, you fuckers, rest is not work. Like, you're just resting. Like, claim that. And so I get back
yeah,
from the conference, and like the next day or something, you had threaded that, and they were tearing you up.
yeah, yeah. It's so funny because my boyfriend jokes, and it's not funny. It's not funny, but my boyfriend will joke. Like I'll ask him to like do something, and he made
Yeah.
a joke once, and he was like, "Because I'm black, I don't deserve rest," and I'm like, "Stop repeating that. It's not funny." I was like, "I never said that," because like I criticized the new like Marlon Wayans movie, which is the worst movie I've
I've
ever
heard.
seen. And someone like responded to my post and was like, "Is this the Afro Latino who says black women don't deserve rest?" I'm like, guys, like, come on. And like my fear, and not like actual fear, but like my thing is like in about a year, I have a
Yeah.
book that's coming out, and someone is gonna like, the moment that I release my book, I know someone's just gonna start a hate campaign online. It's like he thinks black women should just be working all the time. Like
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
I
Yes.
never said that. I never said that.
Oh my gosh. But it really does. I mean, when you're talking about frameworks, I was thinking about that whole concept because obviously, yes, absolutely, black women deserve to rest. But when society is literally about to crumble, like when society is crumbling, it is unfortunately an all hands on deck situation. So like I feel like the both people are so often missing the both and of like, yes, this sucks that our labor is still required for this, but it really actually is a group project still that we have to get done. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, I just want to be clear that like the whole like we deserve rest thing, just because that's a phrase that black women were like repeating online and like saying within their like inner circles, does not mean that the phrase deserve rest, as in when I said we don't all just deserve rest, we need to get off our ass.
Yeah.
That's not directed at black women. And
Yeah. Yeah.
like I surround myself with nothing but black women, so it's just
Yeah.
really crazy that y'all would assume that. But yeah, I think nuance is completely lacking, and I think that people on the internet, and I think it's also because we have a lot of us have learned how to curate our algorithm, and so we just assume that everything that we see is like directed at us, and
Yeah.
and that's just a very like self-indulgent, egotistical like way to engage with the internet. Like there are 100 million people who view my accounts every day. None of my posts are about any of you actually.
Yes.
These are,
Yes. Yes.
but yeah, so I would say that is the hardest part is like not being able to like have thoughts.
Without
uh,
getting beat up.
yeah, yeah.
What's your dream for the platform? Like you said, it's you've been at like the Instagram one that has grown so fast for a year and a half. It's grown so fast. What
Mhm.
is like what do you want everything to look like 5 years from now?
5 years is a long time from now.
Yeah.
So
Especially in social media world.
yeah, I would say I have no idea. I don't know what this landscape will look like. I think in the meantime, I'm trying to just build legitimacy and be respected because I think that I'm actually really talented and I think that I serve like a good purpose for folks.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to create things that will last. I'm in the middle of like working on a long form interview show that'll feature activists and political leaders,
Yeah.
where like they're not just espousing like talking points and like beating us over the head with the same stuff over and over, but like actually getting to know these people so we could really understand why they make the decisions that they do.
Mm,
And and I'm in the middle of writing a book, which I think will be really helpful. I think a couple of years from now, when people look back at this period of time where, like, I think we've really changed what the news is. Like, we've really
yeah.
just completely taken it over in a real way.
Yeah. What do you think like if you had to name three, what are like the three biggest mistakes that mainstream media is making on the regular basis?
Um, Mistakes. I'm gonna be honest and say I'm one of the rare people who I don't attack mainstream media. I actually think it serves a good purpose, and I'm kind of an institutionalist,
Okay.
like, which is so funny because he likes to fight with me now, but like Chris Cuomo was like one of like my biggest inspirations growing up. It's really, and so like I've said that to him like mid art like,
You
and I
said
don't know if he
mid
accepts that.
argument.
But like mid argument, I've been like, this is really crazy. I used to watch you like cover the Iraq War and be like, that's so cool. I want to do that. And now you're fighting with me. Um, but
Oh my god.
but as far as mainstream media, I would say there is not enough of us. There's not enough of our voices to cover our stories. I think that
Hmm.
mainstream media, since the Trumpification of the world, honestly,
Hmm.
has decided that like they just need to focus on the biggest, flashiest, scariest stories.
Yeah.
And I don't think that really serves people well. I think that we don't need to spend all day, every day, talking about just the government shutdown. It's not that
Yeah.
we shouldn't talk about it, but
Yeah.
like there was a young black teen last night in Michigan who thankfully was found late last
Yes.
night. His name is Christopher Moore. He's 19 years old, but he was missing for 3.5 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yes.
like we could have spent 20 minutes mentioning him and talking about that. The story of Trey Reed
Yeah.
and how little national attention that has gotten. And the fact that now, because of social media, those
Yes.
stories are getting attention, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
But I wish that mainstream media would look at the stories that we're talking about online and realize that these are things that people want to know about and want to talk about. I think that there's been a lot, there's too much. I don't want to say we allow it,
Mm-hmm.
but mainstream media anchors lets these political leaders like take over their platforms when they're on there
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
espouse all this like partisan like BS that I don't think is helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of journalists are just allowing political figures to bulldoze them without being fact checked. There are some really great people. Caitlin Collins is like phenomenal.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that that is an issue, and I think the commentary of it all is just kind of enough. I don't think that we need around the clock commentary shows, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that we need that many. Let's just sit around a table and debate shows. It doesn't need to be all day long. You know, like CNN News Central is a great show. It's
Mm-hmm.
hosted by Boris Sanchez, and
Mm-hmm.
like that is just that's a news program,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But beside that show, and like besides their like 6 a.m. program, they're kind of just like sitting around a table podcasting, and I think that it's become exhausting.
It's interesting that you like the Trey Reed story specifically. I just think about the fact that it's not covered is really a tale as old as time. You know, that one kind of just feels like that feels historically accurate as far as America is concerned and the lynching of a black man, and they tried to cover it up and there had to be an independent investigation. So like it would be great if mainstream media ever accurately covered a story like that, but like historically it just never has.
Yeah.
What would it take?
I think more of us in the room. I think
Ugh.
more people who come from local news, who come from citizen journalism. Um, I think we spend a lot of time. This is the truth.
Yeah.
We live in a capitalist society. Networks are beholden to their advertisers who need viewership, so they care about ratings. So they talk
Right.
about the stories that are the most to them that they think are the most scandalous, salacious, triggering, emotional.
Yeah.
But they're not serving. I don't think that most news networks anymore are trying to serve their audience. I think
Yeah.
they're trying to hold their audience's attention, but it's like hours and hours of basically like clickbait just on TV. Like and so like, what are we really taking away from this?
Yeah.
Besides, I guess talking points and like arguments, but besides that, if you could watch 12 hours of CNN
Hmm.
and walk away not knowing anything new.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even in, like one of my biggest beefs with NPR is I call it like their Sesame Street ass analysis of everything. Like it'll be like a extremely layered topic like climate change or like water, how clean is water? And they will just give you like the book report from the like one thing instead of and now this is step 2 and this is what legislation is doing. There's never like a multi-step of this ongoing problem that's affecting us all, and I think it really stunts us as like the masses, that people just don't have. You can't just turn on the radio and it'll just be the same story about the same thing, and it's frustrating to me that there's no deeper dive, even though like these are the people that we're beholden to at large.
Yeah.
um how, how do you, if you had to give like the average American a grade on media literacy, like A to F, what grade would you give
A
us?
D.
Okay. Okay. So how could we what would we have to do to bump that up to like a B plus?
I think folks need to read more. And I think that folks need, yeah, that's honestly it. Folks just need to read more.
Yeah.
Um, because I think you're so much more susceptible to misinformation or disinformation or deepfakes or AI or all of these things
Hmm.
because you don't know any of the facts, because you live your life reading headlines
Yes.
and posts or like looking at like thumbnails being like, wow, I must know the whole story. And
Yeah.
people give themselves too much credit. You
Yeah.
don't know the whole story and you should want to understand it. You should read it. You know,
Yeah.
I would say the average American has like a Cliff Notes version of like what they think the Constitution actually says. You know,
Barely.
like, and just like not even just media literacy, but like literacy in general, and also like just a fundamental understanding of the law. Like, not we don't
Mhm.
have to be like constitutionalists. We
Right.
don't have to be like legal scholars,
Yeah.
but like I get frustrated, and I don't argue about this anymore, but I sort of get frustrated when I'll share, for example, this past weekend, I believe it was Sunday, a federal judge blocked Trump from being able to deploy the National Guard in Portland, Oregon. That's
Okay.
one example.
Hmm.
And I get, I'd say it's like clockwork within like 2 minutes of a post like that, where like a judge blocks something. Someone says, well, Trump doesn't care about the law, he's going to do it anyway. And I want to so badly just explain to everyone. I'm like, he's actually not breaking the law, guys.
Yeah.
And that to me is also frustrating because it means that you don't actually understand everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize that Trump is just a result of a really broken system, because this is not the Trump administration of 2016.
Right.
This Trump administration, he is surrounded by really smart people.
Hmm.
They are not the most, they are morally bankrupt people, but they
Yeah.
are still really smart. And so what I want people to understand is like, he's not breaking the law, guys.
Hmm.
He's not. He's challenging the law. He
Hmm.
is litigious as hell, all hell.
Hmm.
But Donald Trump is finding loopholes and using the system in the way that it exists in order to do the things that he wants to do. So it's
Hmm.
things like that where I'm like, if we just sat and read the story,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
read the caption, it's
Yeah.
in the caption, you would understand that he actually is not breaking the law. So it's things like that where I'm like, I don't think that folks really want to learn.
I I agree
But
with
I
you.
think that they've been conditioned based on like what we were just talking about. Like everything is just commentary now. Like when we
Yeah.
watch CNN, I'm sorry, and Jillian Michaels is on there, people are
Right.
like, well, I can have an opinion too. So they
Yes.
don't feel the need to learn anything or to
Yeah.
study or to
Yeah.
read books, because everyone gets to have an opinion in 2025. We're
Yeah.
all podcasters. We are all living our lives on the front cover of our own magazine. And
Yeah.
like, that's just what it is. And that's not the case.
Yeah. And it's like I I think about often the death of like the follow-up question. Like people aren't
Mm,
even curious
mhm.
when they say something and it's challenged. They just like double down with the little information that they already have instead of being like, "Well, why would you say what you're saying? What is that based in?" Like every no one is open to being wrong either.
Yeah.
So that is it's killing us. And I mean, I read professionally all the time, real literature, not Colleen Hoover, and still, it's fucking confusing. Like everything that's happening is fucking confusing. I do, I guess, more than anything. One, I do read your captions because I read, but also, just a basic understanding of American history, I think, helps ground me in what he's able to do and not do. Because, I mean, white supremacy has been bending laws to its favor since the creation of the country. So, like, it's not hard to imagine that he can get away with things because that's what they made the laws for, to be able to get away with things, you know? But people don't know history, so they don't know that. I'm glad we're talking about books because I that's where I was going to move next. What books, like, what's your like personal canon if you had to give me like two?
Two
You can do
two
more.
books that like, but like two what, like all-time favorites you're saying?
Yeah, like they have you feel like they've shaped you as a person.
Oh, okay. So do you mind if I show them to you?
Oh, I would love that.
Okay, so this one is called Brown Enough: True Stories About Love, Violence, and the Student Loan Crisis, Hollywood, Race, Familia, and Making in America. It's the
Okay.
longest title ever. Um, it's written by Christopher Rivas.
Okay.
He is from Queens. He's an actor, writer, podcast host.
Mm-hmm.
He this I had a chance to interview him.
Mm-hmm.
He was on a Fox show called Call Me Kat. It's a sitcom. He's
Okay.
really, really great. He's a great writer. And I had an opportunity to interview him, and I got to tell him like there is like my life before this book and like my life after it. It
Ah,
is such a phenomenal book. It really spoke to me just as like a man of color who really just struggled with my identity and like where it is that I fit in,
yeah.
and what spaces I'm allowed to occupy.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting.
Yeah.
He asked this question about like, in this world of like white and black, where do I fit in? Like where is brown? Like where do we fit in politically and like
Yeah.
socially? Yeah, it's just a really interesting, it's a really great book. Another book that I don't have a copy of, I don't think, because I gave it away and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
kept it. People always do that. People are the
Always.
worst. But I have, actually, no, wait, I think I do have it. Oh, yeah, it's right here.
Just
No,
kidding,
but this,
people.
no, this is a new book though. I like rebought it because
Okay. Okay.
I lost it.
Okay.
The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. It's a really great book. It's a big like mind F because
Okay.
he have you read The Untethered Soul?
No.
Um, he's like challenging you to remove, like he's trying to teach you that you are not your thoughts.
Okay.
And he's trying to get you to sort of separate who you are from the thoughts that are in your head so you can better like analyze the way that you act and the things that you react to and the
Yeah.
choices that you make. And like for example, like you're a parent, right? You said
Yeah.
so. You know that moment where you are like watching your kid rest and they
Yeah.
look so peaceful, and
Yeah.
for absolutely no reason, you just
Yeah.
imagine the worst thing in the world happening to them.
Yes. Yep.
And
Yes.
it's things like that that I've challenged to be like, oh, that's like worry, that's anxiety, that's not me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a really good book.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say those two.
Oh,
I think reading as much as possible and reading as many different POVs as possible. I think that's why I don't read fiction.
yeah.
I really only read nonfiction, and like history. And I think that that sort of stuff really allows you to understand, like you said before, like what's possible
Hmm.
and what has happened before. And I think that that's sort of formed the way that I'm able to move in the world.
Okay, that's fair. You should read fiction though. You can't be I can't the people couldn't hear
I
you say you
I
don't read fiction and me not push back.
I really don't like reading fiction.
Oh my god. That's fine. It's fine. We're fine. I'm fine. Toni Morrison, we're
Okay,
fine.
I'll make one recommendation. Okay, hold on.
Okay. Okay.
I'm currently reading. So my son has cerebral palsy.
Okay.
So I read with him or like to him,
Yeah.
and so we're currently reading this thing of ours by Frederick Joseph. It's a really really good novel. It's
Yes.
really well written. I really love it. But again, if it wasn't for the fact that like I have a teenage son who like
Yeah.
wants to be read to, I wouldn't. I would buy this because I first of all, let's be clear, I support Black authors. I bought two copies,
Period.
um, but it would sit on the shelf.
Oh, isn't it great though? It's a great shout out to Fred. I also need to reach out to him. I want to interview him, but I love that book. I told him I love that book.
Yeah,
What's the girlfriend's name or the love interest?
I don't remember.
Because some tea, when I told Frederick that I read the book and loved it, he said that that character was mildly inspired by me. And so I
Oh
fainted.
wow.
I just like rolled down a hill in just
Oh
like glee.
wow.
I know. So when you read about her, think about me. I'm a real nigga. Okay. I would have said, I would have also been, I don't know how far you are. I'm not going to ruin it. Okay. Anyway, um, where can the people find you?
Uh, everywhere at Here's Why, Kevin.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today. This was wonderful. I learned so much.
Absolutely. Hold
And thank,
on.
yes,
Wait,
yes,
hold on, before we wrap this up, because
yeah.
I'd be a fake ass bitch if I didn't do this. There is one book that I just finished, and because
Is that
you
Black
like books,
Genius?
yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay, listen. I
yeah.
don't know if you've told your audience about this yet, but Black Genius by Trey Johnson is masterful.
I
It's so
heard.
well written. He is incredible. I love this book. Everyone should read it, and I've told everyone to buy it, and I had to do that before we wrapped up.
Oh no, no, that's great. And I haven't mentioned it, so thank you for putting us
Yeah.
on. Um, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. And I'm wishing you all the success. I will still be watching and waiting for you to tell me about the thing. And dude, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna stop us.